Hi, and welcome back to AI in 5. I'm your host, Simon Chris. Joining me today from Istanbul is Ertu Cavusoglu. Ertu is the founder of Life Processing AI, and we're going to be talking about how to use AI reasoning for better sleep. Hi, Ertu, and thank
Do
you
you
for
want my
joining me.
take or
You're right. Here we go.
let's go?
Hi, Ertu. Thank you for joining me on AI in 5.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah.
Look, let's jump right in. We've only got 5 minutes. I wanted to touch on with you because I know this is an area of speciality for you. Talking about reasoning in AI, particularly in the light of the recent news of OpenAI's strawberry model and things like that. What's your kind of take on reasoning and
Mm-hmm.
how are people using it?
So, we had a lot of use cases that we already implemented the LLM as an algorithm use case, and now we decided to go with the wording reasoning because I think it's a lot more intuitive. So, what's an algorithm is pretty much the step-by-step prompting of a model to bring about some output, right? But most of the time, generative AI is like understanding human language and generating certain output that is qualitative, right? So we found this use case, this reasoning use case, in which we fed the models with quantitative inputs, and we actually generate a lot of quantitative output that we utilize to further personalize the user's experience within the products that we are building. So that's how we're pretty much defining it, right? We're taking a quantitative approach on top of all the qualitative generative AI use cases that we already present to the users. Yeah, yeah,
So, one
yeah.
of the use cases I know you've talked about quite a bit was the work that you did at Emma Sleep, which is also a big brand here in Australia. Talk to me about how
Okay.
you would use a reasoning engine to help with sleep.
hmm So sleep is a multidimensional problem, right? There are a lot of things to take into consideration, like what time the user is sleeping and what sort of habits the users have, right? So if you can find a way on the UI to quantify these parameters, so we've been asking the users a lot of questions on the UI through the sleep questionnaire, and the results, and for instance, like these parameters involve the user's caffeine information or their other sleep habits. Then we've been feeding these parameters or values inputs to the model that we had, and we've been basically generating sleep recommendations, right? But one of the outputs that we had was the sleep opportunity score, because we've been generating a lot of sleep recommendations. Then how do we prioritize these for users, or how do the users know which sleep recommendation would help them the best? It's a quantitative score out of 100, and we've been actually using this model by simply prompting it to generate a quantitative score, and by justifying it through qualitative means, the user actually knew like which one of these recommendations would help them the best, right? So, so the reasoning part that we use is most of the time is quantitative terms and backed by all this justification, qualitative content around the justification, explaining that score to the user. So we found a way to, I think, combine these quantitative parameters with qualitative insights for the users. So,
Yeah,
yep.
I would have thought the best way to get people to go to sleep would be to get them to listen to my podcast. It's like,
I mean, that could be one of the recommendations that we would generate if the user would be like inputting they're having a better sleep quality while listening to podcasts. If they sleep while listening to podcasts,
yep.
the model would actually recognize that pattern, right? So I think there are a lot of good features of these generative technology. One of them is pattern recognition. So it itself is a black box. We've been using GPT-4, and then we switched to GPT-4 Turbo. And also algorithms are kind of the set of rules, but once you have a lot of set of rules, it turns into this black box. What I would recommend to the listeners who would like to implement this as a recommendation engine within this reasoning use cases, it will be to test it. Just QA the heck out of your results, right?
Mm.
Because the black box, and you should have clear guidelines within the team to test the results of these outputs. And then you will have a very good understanding whether or not the model is working. If it's not working well, and you know which outputs would be the correct ones, then you iterate on the prompt till it generates the right output. Then you just push it to the production. Then you will get to track the results. Yeah.
Yeah, look, thank you. This has been a fantastic AI in 5. I think we're all going to sleep better tonight because of it. I love to ask everyone the
Okay.
same question, and that question is, what would be your one tip for somebody who's just starting their AI journey?
Right. Uh, if I would answer that question, it would be just go ahead and get your hands dirty and test the results. That would be my take. Right.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for being a part of AI in 5. I look forward to chatting again.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.